Hello, epic viewers from around the multiverse, prepare to bask in unprecedented glory, because today I'm going to be commencing an FLB epic review appertaining to the Kingdom Hearts Pete and Chip and Dale action figures. Are these action figures paradigms of resounding perfection, or are they abhorrent, or are they characterized by sheer and utter insipid mediocrity? In my objective opinion, in the form of a quantitative score for under the $15 price point, I got them for slightly more than $11 each, because they were on sale beyond the clearance price. I'd rate these action figures to be a 9 out of 10. Why? The Pete action figure emulates his video game counterpart. Just like his video game character, he's big, massive, bulky, and he may be deemed morbidly obese. That's for you to determine. And the Chip and Dale figures are quite exquisite. They're intricately detailed, and of course they emulate their comic book counterparts. They would aid Sora in his endeavors to travel across the universe and see what lies on other planets. And these other planets were essentially subliminal advertisements for Disney to get you hooked on their franchises and content for eons to come, and for you to pass on this epicness to the following generations by spewing words from your vocal folds that resonate with the masses who love the multiverse and iconic, one-of-a-kind, unique, extraordinary, novel Disney characters. But enough sheer and utter nonsense. Let's delve into the nitty-gritty. So, as you can see, the Pete action figure is the most enticing figure in this 3-pack, even though it feels more like a 1-pack, but we'll get to that later. This Pete action figure is meticulously detailed out of the wardrobe he's donning. He has this majestic wardrobe. He looks like he's part of the nobility, or part of the upper echelon. He looks like he's ready to clobber anyone to bloody pulp and pummel them to death and devour them and dismember them. You know, he looks like he's poised for battle and ready to chomp away. Let's see. I love his deco. I think he has high quality textures, high quality shadings, a high quality design. He could have been improved in terms of articulation, and he's part of a 7-inch scale action figure line, so he'll coincide eminently well with a 67-inch action figure collection, and he's a bigger character, so he'd be wonderful to display with even a 5-inch action figure collection. Even if he looks a bit out of context, he's Pete. He's supposed to look like an abnormality and an aberration from the norm. Is he the antithetical of justice and of good and of peace? Does he embody sadistic, unrequited evil? Perhaps, but that's for you to determine. Allow your imagination to run loose and flaunt this hunk of plastic, this inanimate object on your shelf to feast your eyes on in perpetuity, as your vision wanes and as your vision atrophies and as your visual prowess diminishes to become nothing more than a shell of its former self, as you resonate with the hunks of plastic that also can't see but give off the illusion of being able to see. I love his visage. His eyes are wide open, in spite of the fact that he's blind, just like all inanimate objects. That's the paradox here. Everything you see in this little simulation is an illusion and a figment of your imagination that you conceived up. And you cannot explore this multiverse outside the parameters of your 7 senses and your consciousness. And you experience this multiverse vicariously through your vessel. But that's a topic for another time. Let's just finish the damn review. I'm not going to forsake my viewers. I'm going to finish this review and remain resolute and steadfast and true to my word. So let's continue. He could have been improved in terms of articulation. I prefer if he had 2-fisted hands. His fingers seem to be semi-clenched together. He seems to be able to rotate his hands. In terms of joints, it's arduous to tell from this perspective, but he likely has latitude for leg articulation and arm articulation, so the appendages can be articulated. Nonetheless, he's devoid of articulation in pivotal areas. In spite of the fact that he possesses rudimentary articulation, he lacks a diaphragm joint, he lacks finger joints, he lacks double jointed elbows, double jointed knees, and he could have used a disc in the neck to awkwardly rotate the neck. That would have been appealing, to say the least. If that have appeased you, who knows? That is an enigma. The Chippendale figures may be able to move their arms up and down. It seems as though they're unable to move their arms outwards, but as to whether or not they can do that remains to be unknown. But I'm presuming that their articulation is confined to 2 to 4 or perhaps 2 to 5 points of articulation at most, and Pete probably has anywhere from 7 to actually probably 9 to possibly more like let's just do the math real quickly, possibly more like 12 or 13 points of articulation. Probably 9 to 13 points of articulation, that'd be my guess for Pete's articulation. And as per Chippendale, his articulation, they likely have at most 3 to 5 points of articulation, possibly even 2 to 5. And that guesstimate is more than likely right. They're truly eye candy. They could have been improved in terms of articulation, and they could have come with accessories or devoid of accessories. Pete should have had two-fisted hands, but for around the $10 price point, I recollect paying 11 plus tax, and may have been slightly less than 11 plus tax after applying the deduction to the clearance price. I guess I can't really complain, even though he's not up to par with Toby's Marvel Legends Juggernaut that retailed for $8 plus tax and came bundled with a diorama piece of a decimated wall and a comic book, and that Juggernaut figure had 32 to 40 points for articulation, as I recollect. But I'd love to see Pico toe-to-toe with the Juggernaut, and Chip and Dale can assist him. They can be his aides, so it's a very great figure. The shoulder pads are sculpted on. I love his trousers. I love his gloves. Hasbro would have painted everything on, and they would have really bastardized the design, but Diamond Select Toys holds true to their word. They create high quality figures, and these figures are truly a masterpiece, and they'll definitely tickle your fancy and provide you with your stimuli if you love Kingdom Hearts. So these figures definitely resonate with you and render you jubilant, gleeful, elated, ecstatic, and they'll provide you with your highest form of ecstasy as you display hunks of plastic that don't give two shits about you and you care about more than your own vessel. So I hope that you found this video to be insightful, informative, enthralling, and of course epically epic. For under $12, I have no qualms appertaining buying this 3-pack. I'm rating it an out of 10. Great figures. They just could have been improved if they had more accessories and if they had more articulation, but I'm not going to fault Diamond Select Toys. I mean, they deliver more value than any other action figure company of the modern day era, so it's quite unfortunate that the best contender it's far more expensive than Toy Biz, but at the same time, Toy Biz figures were eminently undervalued and underpriced. So I hope that you found this video to be extraordinarily divine. I bequeathed knowledge to you that can be assimilated in 1 second. I have said nothing other than words characterized by sheer and utter unalloyed vapidness. This figurine is almost perfect. He could have just been improved in terms of articulation, but Diamond Select Toys needs less points for articulation to maintain a lower price point than a Sacrifice articulation any day, for the most part. If it culminates in me saving money, just don't be like Hasbro, don't skimp on everything or anything. Diamond Select Toys, just continue doing what you're doing, and I'll support you. Assuming your products continue to be meritorious. This figurine was likely sculpted by Cortez. He's an illustrious, revered, venerated, notorious sculptor who probably has more talent than the great painters, or I should say artists of the Renaissance. So, once again, I hope that you found this video to be divine. Have a wonderful, marvelous day. Goodbye.